This is Cassandra, part 2. Anyone who has watched the first video will notice I'm using a lot of the same dialogue as in that first video. I'm just adding some additional things that the three of us have learned along the way. Cassandra is a Seal Point Siamese kitten. When Leslie said she wanted to foster a sightless kitten for a few weeks, I was a bit apprehensive. Well, actually, I was a lot apprehensive. I just wasn't sure how you deal with a sightless kitten. Eating, places to play, getting hurt bumping into things, etc., etc. But I was totally wrong to worry about those things, and quickly learned to worry about all the same stuff you worry about with any kitten. Litter boxes, eating, weight, exercise, and most of all, making them feel safe and comfortable. The difference is just not moving things around and providing consistency. Now, keeping in mind, Leslie does 99.99% of the work, and I just follow instructions, I should not have been as worried. Although she was in the pen for most of the first week, except for when we took her out to be on the couch with us, it was obvious she wanted out. We didn't want to frustrate her if she had the inclination to expand her universe, so we started to let her out. The first thing we did was to just open the little door for her. She was always sitting by it anyway, so we thought when she was ready to take that leap of faith, she would. And she did. She very bravely walked all around the room. Most of the sighted kittens usually stayed close to the pen and to about half of the room. Most take a week to just learn there is another side of the room with my desk and musical instruments. But not this one. She roamed everywhere right away. At first, we were concerned she would be bumping her head everywhere. But surprisingly, that just was very seldom, and it would only happen once, and then she would remember. We felt she may need a point of reference in the room, so we set up a blanket in the center of the living area. We bought a different style and shape scratching pad so she would recognize the difference between the one in the pen and the one out of the pen. We placed a second food and water dish station in the direct path of the scratching pad and a second outside the pen litter box, a little to the right with the same type of pad underneath it. That way, when she went there, she could tell she was close to the litter box. Once she made the first loop, Leslie took her to the blanket and showed her the scratching pad. She also then put her in the litter box and let her jump out so she would know where she was. That was the last time Leslie had to show her where her play area was, the food station, and the litter box. She climbed on the couch almost immediately, possibly because it was familiar territory. However, she was still a bit afraid to get down. But if she had to use the litter box or just wanted to get down, she would squeak. She wasn't meowing yet. She does all the same stuff the other kittens do, and she was everywhere. She immediately picked places to nap and climbed onto chairs, but still needed help getting down. It's difficult to sense the distances to the floor. However, as she gets older and bigger, I'm sure that will become less of an issue for her. We still tried not to approach her too quickly and without warning from the rear, still making a little noise by talking to her or rubbing fingers together. Now, not only did she hear when food cans were opening and a dish was set down, she would now go to it. Also, unlike in the pen, if she was hungry and there was no dish there at all, she would go to the food area and circle it or sit where the dish would be. And that was for the wet food, but we always had another dish of dry food there just in case she wanted a snack and it wasn't quite her meal time yet. As stated before about familiarity, it is still necessary to maintain a certain degree of it. However, she was able to maneuver around pretty well. It is something though. Again, she can't see you, but when she positions her face to look up at you when you're talking to her, and she's looking at you right in the face, then she'll sometimes touch your nose and reach out with her paw to touch you. It's almost scary. You almost think she really can see you. Once in her new home, she will learn that layout and behave pretty much the same as a kitten with sight. Blind cats take between 2 days to a week to learn their new environment. That's not really too bad. Due to her surgery, her whiskers were cut, but will eventually grow longer, and that will help her to navigate her surroundings and identify things a little better. But we did notice that they were beginning to get slightly longer. Again, we have taken more videos than stills for Cassandra because we wanted to show anyone who looks at the video of her moving around and show how active she really is. She has only gotten more affectionate, if that was even possible. We are still trying to discourage biting, but it's getting a bit better. We bought her some bigger toys. Her outside the pen naps keep getting a bit longer each time. We do try to be around when she wakes up though, just in case there is still a bit of disorientation, but that didn't really seem to be the case as much anymore. The police and the fire truck sirens don't seem to bother her as much as they did, as I explained in the first video, but we try to talk to her to make her know that we're right there. Her days are a lot busier now, and so is Leslie's. But you notice, I'm usually sitting.